This is cool. I'm gonna screenshot this. I like this little chunk of code. That makes me happy. Today, we are starting off a new journey. This is something I want to call From the Source. And when we are looking at the source, I'm curious, what can we glean? What new things can we learn as we spend 5-10 minutes a week just looking at source code? Follow me along as we spelunk today through Animate.css and learn some new shorthand and learn some other new interesting things. So why don't we just dive in? Follow me. Let's see. Would you go this way? Sure, let's go this way. All right, and just so it looks super legit, at Animate, we're gonna go to Animate.css. We're just gonna search for it, hit that. Oh wait, we want the GitHub link. Let's go to the GitHub link. Bam. Actually, let's look at what Animate.css is, just in case you don't know what it is. This is was popular back then. I'm sure it's popular now because it's just add classes to your HTML elements, and they'll animate. It's pretty sweet. They've always had a really good little demo page here too that made it feel very simple. Look at this. It's just like they have a grouped option. Actually, this would be interesting. You see how there's headers here? I don't know if you knew that you could do that in HTML, and I just want to show you what that looks like because I think it's really handy and I do it all the time. Also kind of interesting, they have a custom skin over top of a normal select element, which is kind of nice too. So if we open up this select element here, and here if I just like, I don't know if I can zoom in, but we have an option group. And inside of the option group, you have all your options. That's how you can make a grouped list view or a grouped select menu. So anyway, those are native in HTML. It's kind of sweet. Okay, so again, although, hey, we're learning from the source, that was the whole point, right? So I'm not sad that we did that. Okay, so let's view this on GitHub because I want to know how they authored this and what it took to get there. I'm just going to close our tab we had up here. And that's nice. It's called source. I like it. I appreciate that. I think this dude's name is Adam, if I remember right. I remember seeing at the bottom of their page a long time ago, it said made with love by Adam. And it says Danid in here, but I think his name is Adam. Does it matter? I don't know. I'm going to look it up anyway. Oh, look. Nope. This is Daniel Eden. I'm thinking of something else. Okay. Source code. Here's the source. Ooh. Okay. We have some organization, attention seekers. We can start there. Or sliding exits and entrances. So, I want to find something because here's my goal. I have a goal today. My goal is to find a keyframe effect. And I want to find a keyframe effect from someone who made it and probably didn't even know it was a keyframe effect. And then I want to talk about it because I think those are interesting. Especially as JavaScript has made it really popular to talk about like abstraction and breaking things into smaller pieces. Or if you're thinking about microservices, a keyframe effect is like a single key in a set of frames, and you can take these out and make them just individuals and then compose them together. So now you have all these individual keyframe effects, individual keyframes that don't do anything by themselves, but through some proper glue, you can make yourself a really neat animation, and you can make yourself like 8 neat animations out of the same, 2 or 3 keyframe effects, just like a sandwich, right? You got like a beginning and end, where you've got the in and out, and then anything can happen in between. You can have any number of keyframe effects between. Okay, whatever, keyframe effects. Let's jump in here. I'm gonna look at sliding entrances, since I think that's a pretty basic thing that we go into. Hey, look at this. 4 years ago, hasn't changed one time. That is amazing. Okay, slide in right. Let's see what we got here. All right, from and to. I like that syntax. And slide it. Oh, he moved. Or I don't even know if this has moved to animation, so keyframes exclusively. It says from and to. So this particular animation is going to reset something to these positions before it will translate them in, right? Which makes sense because it's sliding in, not out. So it needs to come from an out state to an in state. So here's our out state to our in state. Translate 3D to 100%. I love 100%. Just the percentage mechanism inside of a 3D transform is exactly what you always thought it would be. 100% is the width of the element that is being animated. That's not always the case in CSS, and it's really handy. As you can see here, translate. So this is X, Y, Z, and on our X we're going out 100%. So that means the size of this element will be translated exactly its width off of the screen. So as long as there's overflow hidden, or that this particular container is up to the edges of your viewport, This will be completely invisible until it slides back to 0. So that'll go from out to in. Super cool. They give it a name here, and then they just trigger the animation name here. So that's interesting. There must be some other defaults maybe, or so the other things that are coming in from an animation. So there might be a class called, let's find it. There's probably a class called Animate. Let's just open up their docs again really quick to see if there's a base class that we need to put on something. All right, so we import the styles. It's one of the best parts about CSS. Just pull in this chunk and use what you want. Although it'd be really cool if we could destructure the animations that we're using out of here so we don't pull in like a... This probably has like 60 or more animations in it. And if we only use 4, that's a lot of waste. Anyway, this is things that CSS modules and other frameworks can help you tackle so that you don't bring in a huge file and only use a little bit. As like a good way to describe it is like you bring a bazooka to kill an ant. I guess that's not good. That means you're overpowered. In this particular case, it's like you made 20 pizzas for 2 people and you just thought they were really hungry or something. I don't know. These metaphors are getting crazy. Let's keep reading the source because I want to know. There's got to be more little things to learn in here. Okay, we were looking to see if there's any sort. Look, there's a base class called Animated. Animated, infinite, bounce. Hey, look at that. So all of the properties are out into sort of like OOCSS. So they have individual classes to handle individual things. Let's find those. Specials? Maybe base. I bet you it's in base. Let's check out base. Okay, look, we found it. Here's Animated. So this is a base class that when you put it onto, and so this is, so this is also composition. The way that they are asking you to put multiple class names on there so that you can compose an animation. You're not being forced into one or the other. Look at all the stars on this. Yeah. That would be sweet. Used by 36,000 other packages. That is so cool. Okay, so we have animated infinite. This is interesting. Oh, because the animation duration, so the default on animated is 1 second. That's interesting. And actually just click the line number. Okay, and we have animated infinite, so that's going to set our iteration count to infinite. Right, fill mode both. I wonder why fill mode both is set by default. What's the default of animation fill mode? Let's see. CSS, animation fill mode, blah, blah, blah. Yep, let's go here. Forwards is the default, huh? Forwards. That's interesting. I suppose that makes sense. So we go back to here. This is fill mode both, and that's probably for all of this in and out work that Animate.css is so known for. Oh, here, this should be the demo page. Let's go to demo. Yeah, pin that. Pin it. All right. Down here we have delays, a whole bunch of delay classes. It seems like this matches this. This is almost custom property worthy stuff here too. Animated fast. Interesting that fast is 800 milliseconds. Faster. See, I like this. I like these speeds. These speeds also go really well with strong easing. So that's, I think, our next thing. Let's go check out the easing curves that this is using. I also don't see any animation keyframes yet. And look at this. Print or prefers reduced motion. It's included. This is a great little nugget. This makes me happy. 1 millisecond, and iteration count of 1. So anything that was infinite doesn't go infinitely. Anything that has a duration that's animated is now just 1 millisecond, so it will instantly transition to its new spot, right? No motion. You can transition, but you can't, just no motion. Oh, prefers reduced motion. Okay, so anyway, and we have transition duration at 1 millisecond important. This is cool. I'm going to screenshot this. I like this little chunk of code. That makes me happy. Okay, that's one awesome item from the source that we found today. So what did we want to look at the easing curves next. So I want to jump into the source folder again. I'll find, let's see, exits, flippers. This is all types of zooming, zoom. What are specials? I'm assuming specials are like really keyframe heavy animations. Let's look. Yeah, hinge, jack in the box. So these things are like multi-frame. Or lots of keyframes. Yeah, some trickery going. Although I want to look at the trickery because the trickery could have a trick in it, and that's mostly what I'm in here for. Is I want to see all these like neat little edge cases that folks have figured out that they can use their tool for. Okay, so let's see. Keyframes hinge. We got 0%. Origins top left. Okay, ease in out. Look, so there's an easing, and they're just using some of the ones built in. I like it, and I like ease in out. I think that's good, healthy base easing as well. 20% and 60%. So you could think of this a little bit like a ping pong. Oh, it's a hinge. Right. Okay, so 20% and 60%. Notice that these don't have to be percentages in order. You can have states in the timeline share a keyframe effect. So really what you're looking at here is a keyframe effect that will be applied at the 20% timeline marker and at the 60% timeline marker. The 40%, okay, so look, we go X, Y, Z. So we start out at, see, where do we start? 2. Okay, so we're X, Y, so we're gonna rotate on, oh, no, we're not rotating, we're translating on Y. This is a hinge. I imagined a hinge would kind of teeter-totter like this in a center point, maybe even settle. But it looks like, because the transform origin is top left. See, I would imagine top center, but we have a top left hinge. Oh, let's go look at this animation. Hinge, where are you? You special hinge. Oh, look, it's like it's falling off. That's funny. Okay, so top left, that kind of, here, this is an animation. That went too fast. You know, it's funny, that went too fast, and I remember looking at the code here, down here at the bottom. Look, we have a duration of 2 seconds. How was 2 seconds too fast for me to see? That was 2 seconds. I believe it. I mean, it's just, okay, so anyway, here we are. Let's slow down this animation to 25% and animate that. Oh, I love the way that it falls off on the end. That's cool. So if we pop into here, we got 20 and 60. So this is going to be like our rocker. But then here at 80% to the finish. So that's why we finish at Y at 700, because that's going to make it fall. So we're pushing off of Y down. We have a rotate 3D here, so that makes sense. X, Y, Z, so we're rotating on Z. It's going to give us our transition that's like in our 2D space rotation, as opposed to Y or X would have done, they'd flipped us into 3D. And then a fourth parameter in rotate. 60 degrees. I don't think I know what this is. What is the fourth parameter in CSS rotate 3D? Let's learn. Okay. Look at this. It's here in the spec this whole time. Transform function. I like it. Turns, radians, degrees. This is okay. We're in rotate. This makes sense. Okay, describe a single axis rotation. The axis is XYZ. Okay, that's what I thought is XYZ. And pass by the origin as defined by the transform. Okay, origin, yep. Okay, we see some nice 3D rotating here. Oh, I see. Oh, cool visual. Right, so we have perspective that's been applied to this whole viewport here. That's what allows us to see in 3D space. As we rotate, can I edit this? Oh, yeah. Okay, so we got 45 degrees. 25. So this is rotating. Is this like a shared rotation across all of them? Like if I set this to 0 or 1, I go here like 10 degrees, 10 degrees, 10 degrees. Maybe that's its magic powers. It's letting me specify things in other syntax. What is wrong with my syntax here? Can't these? Why do they need units? Don't they? What'd I break? Oh, that seems fine. Okay, but I'm not getting anything cool. Was it my fourth parameter? I don't know. Weird. Let's keep reading then. Obviously, there's something I don't understand here, and I'm excited. XYZ. Okay, it's a number. Oh, it's a rotation. Oh, yes. Oh, and the fourth is angle. The angle of the rotation. A positive angle denotes a clockwise rotation, and a negative angle is a counterclockwise rotation. Gotcha. From the source. Learning stuff. Okay, so we know the animation fill mode by default is forwards. Both is nice when you have things coming in and out. Our rotate 3D function takes a fourth parameter And that fourth parameter is an angle, and a positive and a negative value will change the direction at which it rotates. Ooh, look at the crazy perspective being applied here. It's really rocking this thing. So let's go back. I want to like at least put some valid values in here. I don't think I've used rotate 3D very much. I've done a lot of translate 3D, but not a lot of rotate 3D. And if I do rotate 3D, I stick with XY. I've built some crazy things with CSS 3D transforms, and I didn't know there's a fourth parameter. I'm so happy. I'm reading the source. So happy. Angle, love it. This is so cool. Okay, let's go back. I don't know how much time we've been recording so far, but I'm going to squeeze in one more item from the source. And to do that, I wanted to find the easings. Maybe all the easings are with the animations. So let's find a rotating entrance, because we were looking at sliding in entrances. Let's look at rotating entrances to follow up on our 3D rotate learning we just got. And here, rotate in. This is the base, rotate in, down. Okay, rotate in. Let's look at it. Look, 2 years ago. So these animations came 2 years after the first one. Okay, keyframes we have from. Okay, we're animating from the center. We're going to transform. Oh, look again. So there it is. There's our fourth parameter. I'm so glad I read the source. Rotate X, Y, none, Z, 1. So Z is going to rotate a little bit in this space, and then at an angle of negative 200. So that would be counterclockwise that way. Interesting. Okay. To everything at once. So right, we're going to go from no opacity, rotated out, so that's our starting state, so that we rotate in to basically our resting position, which is translate 3D, everything's zeroed out, and our opacity is 1, so it's fully visible, and it's in its most natural resting state, which is kind of interesting. And then we have an animation named rotate in. Look at, there is no easing here, so the easing is coming from, again, that base class here. So that base class was ease in out, right? It was like the basic. Or do you pick an easing? No, look at that. I don't know where they have all those at. Interesting. So anyway, that is something I would like to do more often with y'all. I would really, really like it if we could just go through some source together and figure out the types of learning that we can get from the source. There's so much source out there, so many wicked intelligent developers that all I want to do is go find all those little moments that they probably spend hours discovering and go learn them in just a few seconds and then share them with you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Expect more videos about from the source. I'll smell you later. Bye.